Today I'm going to be disassembling the Kaleidoscope house so that I can recover the chimney, and also there's a mirror attached to one of the interior walls with a strong adhesive, so I'm going to see if I can get that off. So let's start. This little section seems to always be loose, so when I reassemble it, I'm going to attach it with clear silicone. I don't have the instructions for this, and I tried to look online, but they're very, very blurry, so I just have to go slow so that I don't break any of the plastic. And when I lay this down, I'm going to make sure that I put something soft in between so they don't scratch. All of these panels just slide out, so they're easy enough to remove. I'm trying to go slow so none of the plastic snaps on me. Now that I have this taken apart, I can see that I can't slide paper in behind because this shelf is flush and it's molded. So I'm going to have to cut my wallpaper into two little pieces to recover this. These seem to always be coming loose, so when I reassemble I will be doing clear silicone just so that they stay in place all the time. It's a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle. Okay, I managed to get this panel out. This is the one that has this mirror attached, and it's got some kind of double-sided sticky tape, and I was not able to even try to remove it, so that's my next step, is to try to remove this. The rest of this I'm just going to give it a good clean, wipe it down with soap and water, and I'll do my templates for the floors, and then I will be reassembling all of this. To see if I can lift it. This is extremely attached. I don't know what kind of double-sided sticky tape was used, but it might be an industrial type. I can't even get an edge up right now. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put oil around it and hope that it kind of dissolves some of the adhesion, and I'm going to leave it sit for a while. I don't know if that's going to get underneath because it's a pretty tight hold. Alright, we'll come back after it's sat for a while. Okay, this one, let's see how it looks. It's probably been about a half hour. Let's see if we can get, oh, you can get the edge under a little bit. This may take a few times of waiting. Oh, that's good. You have to be very careful. I'm trying not to scratch. And if worst came to worst, then I would incorporate this into my design. But if I can remove it, I'll remove it. The lady that had this house before me, this room was her bathroom, so. You can see that I'm able to get it under the edge a little bit here. I don't think my razor blade quite reaches to the middle though. So I'm just going to work my way around the outside edge. My safety razor, I kept having to look to see which way to grab it, so I just ended up taking nail polish and covering it. It makes it a lot easier. You don't ever grab it the wrong way now. You can see that it's coming quite loose. I couldn't even get the razor blade under before. But still, even though I'm working all the way around this outside edge, it's still pretty firmly attached in the middle. So I'm going to drizzle some more oil here and hope that it'll run down in behind. And this is just vegetable oil or olive oil, whatever oil you have on hand. I'm hoping that I can get it to go in behind. Alright, we'll leave this sit for a bit and we'll come back. Okay, we're back. It sat for a little while longer. Now, when I ease this in, it's loose all the way around, but if I turn it, you can see the blade is not reaching very far to the middle. So thankfully, I have a much larger blade. This is my one that I use for cutting Fimo, so I'm going to try sliding that in, because we're not hitting the middle of this. We're not hitting the middle of this at all. Oh, I've got to turn it the right way around. Want to make sure the sharp edge is up. See if we can wiggle it. You have to go slow with this. Oh, it's working. Look at that. There we go. And it's off. Wow, this stuff is strong. Okay, I'm back now to show you that I got the mirror off. Unfortunately, there is quite a bit of scuffing on the plastic. I don't know if I'm going to try anything with it. I'm worried about it getting worse. Okay, today was just taking some of the tiles that I have to see what would fit across inside the fireplace. And I've got these little tiny ones here, and I have enough of them to do the whole surround of the I believe that these were at the dollar store many years ago. I've got quite a few little packs, but I'm not happy with the gray color. I think the gray color is too somber for this dollhouse, so I think I'm going to take them out and try putting nail polish on to brighten them up. This is the wallpaper I'm going to use. It's got a texture to it, and you can see it's got quite a bit of silver sparkle to it. I did a test sample. There's no adhesive on this, so I'm going to have to use glue to attach it. I gave this one a quick spray just to seal it and to hopefully keep most of these attached so they're not flaking off all the time. So the chimney's been washed and it's ready to be recovered. I'm going to start on a side and work my way around the whole chimney and then up. I'm going to put tiles in here. So I'm going to get started and then I will show you the finished product. I'm using this glue. It's called Yes Glue. It's quite a thick paste, and I'm just going to be brushing it onto here as well as brushing it on to this and then attaching it. Takes a lot more glue than you think. I want to make sure that I'm overestimating how much I need. Okay, now I'm going to put a bit of glue onto this. I'm going to avoid trying to get it in this groove. I think I may have to cut the wallpaper out of this area for it to fit back into the dollhouse properly. I don't need as much on this because I've got quite a bit on the paper. but it's really hard to see if you've got it in every spot, so this way ensures that I have enough so it will stick on. I'm going to try to keep the seam on one side so it's not as noticeable. I only did as far up as this is going to be. I will have to reapply glue at the top of this when I go to fold it over, but I'm not ready for that and I don't want the glue to dry. So I'm going to line up the bottom and I'm going to make it right even as close as I can to the edge here. And I need to move it down so I don't have to cut anything at the bottom. Alright, so you can just see I've got it right up to the edge, and I'm going to continue putting glue on this and on here and flipping it over. I will continue to do all four sides. Alright, so that's one edge. Now I think I'm going to put the cutting board underneath this and take the X-Acto and cut this out right now. Okay, I'm going to try to cut this out. It's going to be a little difficult, but sometimes when I do wallpaper and I need to cut it out, I wait till it's 100% dry. I'm just worried that if I wait, I don't want to gouge the plastic and I won't be able to see what I'm doing. I can't really show you this because it's such a deep, it's so deep in here. Trying to mark, it's really hard to do. Okay, let's flip this over. You can kind of see where my guidelines are. So, that must be the top. It's exactly, I don't want to scratch anything, so. Sometimes when it's dry it'll give you a nicer, smoother finish, but it's two-sided, so I'm going to do it this way. I'm starting with a fresh X-Acto knife and I'm very carefully cutting it. Oh, it's way up here. I'm doing this because it's two-sided, it's not just one side, and I want to be able to see what I'm doing for the other side as well. There. I'll even this up a little bit and then I'm going to flip it over and continue wallpapering. The base here, you can see that this overlaps, so I'm just going to cut that off right now before I continue. Alright, that's all four sides. I'm going to trim this end off and then I'm going to let it dry. Cut out some of the base, but it's kind of snagging a bit because it's still damp. So I need to cut out the fireplace insert and cut out this other spot on the back. And I see the little seam. I guess I should have overlapped it. I was worried about doing that because it's a thicker paper, but I'm just going to peel this back, put a little bit more glue, and squeeze it up, and hopefully when it dries you won't see the seam. And you're not going to see this because the plastic plexiglass goes in between, but I need to know where it is for when I'm putting it back together. I've got this fireplace area cut out. I ended up lining this with a silver paper, silver glitter paper, but I can see little edges around here, So I think I'm going to take this ribbon and just lay it around as a little frame, just to cover up the little gaps. I should have overlapped the white wallpaper and I didn't. So that's how that looks, and I put it down the top. These are the tiles I started with, and I wanted in bright colors, so I have taken nail polish and colored up some tiles. Okay, I have both sides framed now, and I think it just gives it a nice finished edge. So now I just have to set it aside to dry. So I've done one side with random colored tiles. I'm doing the other side right now, and all I've done is laid out the tiles, and then I'm just doing it in sequence. So I've ended with this one, so I'll start with yellow, purple, and just so that I know that they're all random. And I'm just using tacky glue to hold them down. I will do the two sides and the bottom, and then I will do the back, and I will attach it all with double-sided sticky tape. Okay, so I've got the two sides for the fireplace, the bottom and the back wall done. When I placed them inside here, it's a little, they're very firm. So I placed it inside. They're not attached right now. And then I found out that I had to cut the bottom on either side just to make sure I had the width of the tile. And then on this part here, there's a little lip that I've had to cut it down to fit in here. I messed up on this tile, but I have an extra one, so I can redo it. So I will be putting those in, but then when I put these walls in, or the sides in, when it's all flush, it just sticks out a tiny bit. I don't have the back in all the way. So I decided I'm going to continue with this bright tile all the way around, surrounding this on the front here. Okay, I've got the fireplace insert put in. I'm quite happy with it. I'm showing you that there was a little bit of a lip where the tiles stuck up, so I've just colored the bottom half, and when I put the other tiles in front of it, it will completely hide that edge. I can follow along these things as they're sticking up, and that'll keep it a straight edge. And at this part, I will put this in, push it up, and I will follow this edge for this straight edge on the top. I'll be back when I've got a couple rows done. Okay, I've started doing the outside edge. I've decided to go around and around because I know I'm not going to quite have enough to finish the edges, and I'll have to do something else with them. So this is how it's looking. I'm using the Yes glue again. It's nice and thick, and it takes a while to set up, so I have time to keep moving them and repositioning them. It won't harden too fast, and I can easily wipe any excess glue off the tops of the tiles. Okay, I'm going to take rulers and press up on the top and bottom so that I have a straighter line. Press them both at the same time, and same. And if there's glue on the rulers, I just take a damp rag. I always have a damp rag here. Wipe off the glue so that it doesn't go elsewhere, and then do it the other way. I'm going to allow this to set up and dry quite firm so that when I go to do the next row, it doesn't shift or move. I put this down. There is a little strip of white showing, so I've just cut a silver ribbon in half and glued that down just so there's silver there instead of the white. I'm just waiting for the 3 more tiles to dry so I can finish doing the top. And you see how there's this little bit of an edge. Well, I'm going to actually fill it with these tiny little mirrored tiles all around the edge here, and it'll go across the top when that's dry and down this side. I just got those ones at the dollar store. They're just mosaic sticker tiles. Okay, I'm going to continue these mirrored tiles along the edge. like so. But you can see this is where it has to be put back into the dollhouse. So I can't fit a fourth row in because it'd be over the line. So just to have color consistency, I'm just going to glue this in because this will bend and fit in. Okay, now you can see how that looks. Remember, the wall will be here and this will be on the outside, and you're going to follow it around. I just figure you'll see it from the inside, so I just wanted to finish off the sides. Okay, so this is dried for quite a few hours, and I've put a couple coats of clear nail polish on everything to finish it off, and I'm really happy with how this has turned out. It's the side view, and I found out when I did a dry run putting it in, you don't see this little piece when I put it back into the dollhouse. So now I want to make a mantle. I've got wood. It came from a sample book for different colors of wooden blinds, and so this is the color that's closest to what I've got here right now, and it's wide enough that I should be able to use it for the mantle. I've got quite a few things like this wood that came in a sample book from a do-it-yourself store. I've gotten sample books of wallpaper, sample books of stationery, where it's just got little pieces of paper, but when I'm doing my minis, that kind of stuff is invaluable, and anytime I can get something for free, it's even better. And it's my way to reduce, reuse, and recycle. It may not be much, but it's a little something. Okay, so I've got the front piece cut, and I cut two separate pieces to go down the side on either side, so it'll be wraparound. It'll be a wraparound shelf. So I'm just going to take my nail file here, my file. I love miniatures because you can get away with using a lot of times, a lot of stuff from the dollar store. I get these from the dollar stores, I get some of the felts from the dollar store. I get quite a bit of my supplies. It makes it more affordable. So I'm just roughing up or sanding up the edges. Now I had done a test here. I don't want the edge to be white, so my Sharpie, and I had painted it and then realized that it was not smooth. So that finishes it off pretty good. You do have to seal it with clear nail polish because sometimes it doesn't dry, and then you might touch it, and say if I touch the chimney I'll get blue on it, so you have to remember that. And you see here when I'm putting them up how you can kind of see the seam, and even when I glue it there may be. So if you do just color that as well on both sides. You'll see that when you put it together, even though there's a little bit of a gap, you don't see it. Where unlike this side, you can see the white. Okay, so I have colored all the sides with the felt, and I'm just using these clamps I got from the dollar store so that when I get all the nail polish on it, I can just stand them up like that to dry. Okay, all of these have dried. I made sure that whatever ends that I'm going to be gluing, that I didn't put nail polish on those ends so that the wood glue would stick to it. Got little sparkles everywhere still. My measurements. If it's glued in. And it looks like I'll be able to slide it on, so I'm happy with that. If you don't have a gluing jig, you can use Lego because it'll make a perfect square. And I have another one somewhere, I just can't find it. So I could use the Lego and square it up in the Lego, just the same as the gluing jig. So I'm using LePage Outdoor Wood Glue, but any wood glue will work. I put it in these little bottles with these little ends, but sometimes they really clog up. So I don't know if it's always, if this is better, but I like that I have control over how much glue is coming out if I'm being careful. This is a quite runny glue. Let's just flip this around. So I've got that end. Whoops. And clamp it in. I don't know. This isn't going to reach all the way across, but alright. So now I have to leave that to set up. Okay, this has sat for a while, so it'll be dry. So I'll take it out. And do the final. Oh, that's perfect. So it's going to just sit on here. I thought maybe afterwards I found these little, I think they were supposed to be on the edges of picture frames or something, but I'm going to use them as little shelf supports just to cover up this seam from the bottom. So I'm going to be gluing this into place, and then it'll be sitting there to dry, and I'll probably paint these silver. I had this sitting here so I wouldn't forget to tell you guys. I found some information about this on the internet. And just in case I say things wrong, this is the information. I guess it doesn't shut off. I'll come back when it's done playing. Okay, I've got this done. I decided to paint in blue to match the tiles, and now this has to sit and dry. I want to have a flat screen TV, so this is what I'm going to use. I get all of these from old cell phones, digital cameras, some of them are from your printers, some of these are from printers. So when you're disposing of old things, I always take them apart and look to see if I can use it for mini. And I think if I paint this black around the outside edge completely, I've got a really nice flat screen TV for my dollhouse. I will be continuing to look for little knickknacks and stuff to put on the shelf, so when I come back another time I will show you that done. And this is all that I had left from the tiles. So I have 2 tiles left. And I won't throw these away because I do quarter scale as well, and that might be a little tabletop. For the final thing, I wanted to make these candles that sat inside the fireplace. These I made out of glue sticks, and I just glued them down onto metallic paper to kind of represent a mirror. These are some of the other ones here that I've done. We're using different colors. All I've used to make these are hot glue sticks, and you cut them in various lengths, and then I've heated it around the top till it gets a little bit more rounded, and while it's warm I stick a wick into it. I don't know if you can see that. How I made the wick is I actually had extra wicking here, but if you don't, you just take 2 or 3 strands, well, 3 or 4 strands of thread. I ran glue on them and then just twisted them and just put them in little lengths. You don't need them very big. These silver ones were made with these glitter glue sticks. I bought these years ago. I don't really like putting them in my glue gun because then for the next however many times you have glitter coming out on your projects, but for this I didn't have to color these and they turned out quite well. So I used the big and the little glue sticks for these colored ones. I found that you have to leave them plain, melt the edges, put your wick in, and then I can just use nail polish to color them. And you can get quite a lot of different colors from that. So I will show you. You don't want to touch it to the glue stick, you just want to have it close to. And just keep an eye on it because it will bubble. The edge is round. You can see that they're starting to round up. And just make sure the top's warm. And then you grab your ready, try to center it. Cut your wick down. And then I want my candles to look like they've been lit, so I burn it, and then you get the little tiny black on the top. So that's how I made them. So I will now show you how everything looks with my chimney. Okay, so here's the finished fireplace with the candles inside. This is the mantle I made with all the decorations and the flat screen TV I made. And then I'll show you in the side. So I did decorations along the side. This will be on the inside of the dollhouse. I don't have a lot of wall space, so any little bit that I have, I will be putting some kind of decoration on. So there it is. I'll show you it in the dollhouse next. So here's the chimney in place. I'm very happy with how it turned out. I love the new colors and I'm really glad that I recovered the red. So stay tuned and I'll see you guys soon.